Hi. I sincerely regret to observe everything what is happening between Gaza and Israel. So many people suffer from the war, but unfortunately this is what happens during this kind of military conflicts. I'm a lawyer specialized on writing complaints to the United Nations judicial bodies for the last 20 years. There are different human rights treaties. Some countries sign them, other countries do not sign them. So Israel has not signed the Rome Statute, neither the optional protocol to the Convention on the Rights of the Child. However, the government of Palestine in Ramallah, they have signed both the Rome Statute and the optional protocol to the Convention on the Rights of the Child. So it means that if someone is a victim of the violation of the Convention on the Rights of the Child, he has the right to lodge a complaint with the United Nations Committee on the Rights of the Child. And that is a judicial body that has competence to consider the cases on the basis of the Convention on the Rights of the Child. In other words, if Hamas has murdered children, minors, in Israel, has taken them into hostages, the families of the Israeli children have the right to sue the government of Palestine in Ramallah before the United Nations, to start a litigation at the Committee on the Rights of the Child of the United Nations. Because this is a paper the government of Ramallah, the government of Palestine has signed. Now, what does the Convention on the Rights of the Child say? So the Convention on the Rights of the Child provides that the government of Palestine that is based in Ramallah had to issue arrest warrants and seek an arrest of the leadership of Hamas. That's a paper they have signed. So at the moment the terrorist attack happened, the government of Palestine had to issue a paper saying that they seek an arrest of the Hamas leadership. They haven't done that. And now the families of the children who were killed by the terrorists, they have the right to sue the government of Palestine before the United Nations. And I think that it is a good idea. I think they should do that because the state of Palestine should execute the international papers they sign. Another very important paper the government of Palestine has signed is the Rome Statute. So the Rome Statute prohibits genocide. A genocide is a murder, a mass murder of people on the basis of their ethnic origin. Obviously, Hamas was killing Jews due to their origin, due to their ethnicity. They were killing Germans, but those Germans were actually ethnic Jews, as I understand. The hostages were taken to the territory under the jurisdiction of the government of Palestine. And that government of Palestine is recognized by the United Nations. So, in fact, the duty of the government of Palestine in Ramallah was to start an investigation of the Hamas terrorist attack and seek their arrest on the territory under jurisdiction of Palestine. They haven't done so. So there should be a complaint of the victims to the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court. It was an act of genocide, it was an act of aggression, and it was a war crime. So since the Palestinian government has ratified the Rome Statute, there should be a complaint to the International Criminal Court, to the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, accusing the government of Palestine of aggression, of genocide, of war crimes. This is obviously something that should be done. There is no doubt that the government of Palestine will accuse Israel of war crimes. And this is a problematic point to Israel because obviously during the operation, during the war against Hamas, civilians might die and civilians indeed suffer from the war. So when the Israeli military commandment takes one or another action, they should always keep in mind that it might be necessary at a later stage to justify those acts before the International Criminal Court. So obviously they have to think about reasonability of the action. At some point, the International Criminal Court might issue arrest warrants against leadership of Hamas, but this kind of action could also be taken against the leadership of the Israeli military forces. However, since Israel has not signed the Rome Statute, it means that Mossad will not have a legal obligation to seek arrest of the leadership of the Israeli military forces. On the contrary, the government of Palestine has signed the Rome Statute, and it means that they have to execute the arrest warrant of the International Criminal Court issued for the purpose of prosecution of the Hamas. So obviously the Palestinian propaganda misrepresents the situation with the Rome Statute and with the Convention on the Rights of the Child. So at this point, the families of the victims of the Hamas attack should take an action. They have to lodge complaints with the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, as well as with the Committee on the Rights of the Child of the United Nations. That kind of action should be taken by private individuals. It is not an action that is usually taken by a government. It is particularly so given the fact that the government of Israel does not fully recognize the government of Palestine as a subject of international law. However, since the United Nations recognize the government of Palestine, that government of Palestine should be sued, and it should be sued by private individuals. I pray for the safety of all civilians during that war. Subscribe to my channel.